Hey, hey. I'll move over.
Hey.
How are you?
Ooh, oh, this Friday was a little longer than I expected.
I can't necessarily say the same, but when I tell you I crashed today, like, I gotta go to sleep. We've been working and grinding and moving stuff around and meeting with different people. I'm like, oh
I'm
Lord.
sure. I'm sure.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I sent you that text. My granddad had a doctor's appointment. We ended up being there way longer than I thought we were gonna be there. So I kind of been on the run trying to get stuff together since then. But yeah, no, I was thinking this morning, I was like, let me text her before I forget. Because I was like, I need to know if I'm doing too much. Because, I'm going to go all the way out there for the kid.
Look, I'm with it. I just love us. That's all I can say.
Yes,
Yeah, we have about 9 to 10 people registered.
that
But
is so exciting.
I want to say out of the 9 to 10, maybe three of us are like part of the entire process. Okay.
Yes, I am excited. Oh, I'm so hungry. I don't know what I'm going to eat for dinner after this, but I know I'm going to eat after this.
I know that's right. Yeah, I started my fast today. So the I know it might sound sad. So I was okay with sleeping because I'm like, if I'm asleep, I don't have to worry about
I
breaking
ain't going to be hungry. Right. Look, I feel you. So what you doing for your fast?
and giving up fried food, water only, more like pescatarian.
Okay.
Yeah, like real, like no gym shoes in terms of purchasing gym, like stuff that I know is gonna be a challenge.
That you,
It might not, it might not mean anything to anyone else, but to me, it's like,
but
oh, okay.
yeah.
I've deleted emails already. Like, I'm not even gonna entertain the email. Say 40% off 4th of July
But
weekend. I don't care. It doesn't matter right now. Lisa,
Hey,
hi.
hey,
what's going on?
nothing much. How are you?
I'm cool. I'm cool. I need to cook after this. It's me and Rosie here. The girls, everyone is at work. Ayana's off work. So she running errands. That sounds really, I love this for us.
I, I like how that sound. This the
I,
flexibility for me.
yes, so now gets off at 9. So I'm good till 9 o'clock. DJ out
Oh
Uber.
shucks.
Rosie over here asleep. Like, girl, what we about to get into?
That's funny.
What's up? What's up, Tamika?
Hey, good evening, ladies and
Hey,
gentlemen.
Hi.
Yes. What's
How
going
are you
on?
ladies doing?
good. How are you?
Still,
Good. How are
I'm
you?
good. I'm good. I'm here at the office and just full of joy. Like we doing this, we getting it started. I'm writing my list for the books for the ones that I would see if we can order. Just like it's just been so much downloading in me, y'all. Like, yes, this is what's up.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Look, and just when I think I'm doing too much, Latricia sends me a text message this morning. I'm like, she all in my brain. Like, what are we doing?
Look, I was gonna do that last night. I was like, you know what? I'm just wait. I'm just wait. Put look. I was like, I'm gonna wait till I have everything I want to ask at one time.
I'm not even
Mhm.
mad. Here go
I ain't
Janae,
want to overload you.
Mhm.
Melody. Yeah, I guess we'll get started. I feel like, these Zooms I'm getting more and more comfortable with. Zoom need to hire me at this point. Like, what we doing?
Hey, you need to start that sponsor ad.
And need to reach out to everyone.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
Friday.
If they say no, that's okay. Somebody gonna say yes.
Mhm, mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm excited. I gotta go meet with the Village of Park Forest next week to start finalizing the details so I can sign on a dotted line.
Mhm.
That's gonna be awesome. because our living room and dining room is starting to look like a school again. And DJ like, damn. But it's all good. Hey, Melody. Hey, Janae.
Hey,
Hey. Janae is the best virtual assistant in the world. I stand on that. Here come Felice. Look, it's family. Like, hey, what we talking about? So, for Melody, I believe we might be bringing home, not might, we will be bringing her on in terms of CPR classes and things of that nature to provide that for us and for the students and maybe even the families, depending on how the conversation goes. Felice is here. Guess I could show y'all something. Look at the there go my boo.
who did you say would be doing the CPR? I may need their information too. I'm the assistant to the founder of Lost Boys Inc. And we had a situation yesterday where I was like, the kids need to learn CPR because it may save somebody's life. And they're in sports, and I think everybody in sports should know CPR.
Most definitely.
So whoever that is, please send me y'all information so I can give it to them.
Melody, I don't know if you can come off. There she is. I see her coming off mute.
How you all doing? I'm sorry. I'm in the middle of getting my nails done to go out of town for baseball. But yes, I can most definitely send you several different informational pieces in order to assist with the CPR training.
Okay, I'm gonna put in the chat my work email here.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem.
I love this for us. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen in a second. Let's see. I'm excited because y'all get to see what Felice's been working on. What I've been begging her about. I've been on her nerves. I don't even been on her nerves, but you know, I say that. She probably won't say it. I will.
Never.
But take a look, y'all. I'm gonna start backwards because I think it's just super dope. We have a website. Jones Academy of Excellence. Yes, this is us, y'all. And our new receptionist started today. Her name is Patricia, my oldest daughter, Patricia High. So when y'all call that number 773-708-2041, you should hear her voice. Hello, welcome to Purple Path and Jones Academy of Excellence. My name is Patricia High. How can I help you? That's what she should be saying. But this is our official website. Email addresses will be coming to everyone. I'll move a little slower. I'll slow down because I know I get excited. This is really about preparing for your future, especially knowing that what I've experienced in the midst of the pandemic as a mother and as an educator has been very disheartening. And it felt as if we were just going through the formalities for children to go to school so we don't go to jail. That's the best way I could put it. My children were unable to tell me about any core subjects and unable to tell me about anything that they learned that was meaningful. The only thing that they could tell me about was the amount of people who showed up to school with COVID, how many COVID cases they had, or the inability to really teach in a functional environment, to tell me who had the newest Jordans on or who had the Jordans on that does not drop until a week or two from now. And it's like, what are we doing here? They told me about the amount of fights, things that I've seen for myself firsthand, very disheartening. And so this is how Jones Academy of Excellence came about, was from a level of frustration, a level of pain, but knowing that opposed to being a problem and talking about all the problems, what are the solutions? And so if you know anything about me, my name is Dr. Shaniqua Jones. And what I love about my path is that it comes back full circle and honing in on my reality that I love God and I love him wholeheartedly, to the extent where the way I operate in life shows that and exemplifies that I love God and love him to the extent where everything that he's given me over the years, my journey, some of the disheartening situations, some of the most courageous things in life, has molded me to be who I am today. So Jones Academy of Excellence can thrive in a way that everything we do is about restorative justice. So we have our website. This is our mission. You can read more about us. I really want this informational opportunity to be more about questions and answers and things of that nature, and not necessarily get into the gist of the formalities, because we're still, operating with the highest level of integrity, still making sure that we have the right people in place. We are breaking history. This is the very first full online restorative justice high school in the world, nothing like it. And what makes us even more innovative is that we're making sure that first year gap students, so those students who just graduated from high school in the year 2022 and are not vocation, college, or trade bound, have an opportunity to have some type of mentorship programming available to them for the next year. So from September up until June, and maybe even longer, depending on what the time frame needs to look like for them, because we want to make sure that everything we do is conducive to meet the needs of that child, that they have it. You'll have access to, you can go online. I want you to go online. I want everyone to go online. Spread the word that the website is live. So if you are interested in Jones Academy of Excellence, you have the ability to hit that enroll button that's right here, enroll today. It's an interest form. I love everything about this. We put some hard work into it. This is Ayana. This is our very first graduate from Jones Academy of Excellence. Ayana is our middle child. She's 18. She's working full time. She's actually in a training management position at McDonald's now. Just got her first car without any co-signer. And that's because of the work that we've been able to do, not just as a parent, but starting to understand the basic fundamentals of operating as an individual outside of academics, your right posture, the right type of tone, budgeting, how many, work hours, what does balance look like for an 18-year-old? What do you need to do? Those type of things are conversations that we're having, and want to make sure that that's the conversation that continues on with not just our children, but all of our children. Here go our introduction letter. Here go access to the curriculum, some of the activities. And then, it's just a wealth of information. I could go on and on, but I'm going to come back to my people on screen. I'm going to stop sharing for a second because I am excited. There's nothing like this has ever been done in life. So like, this is just amazing. I'm even sweating. I feel like a Baptist preacher now, like, Lord, somebody pass me a handkerchief. But I just want to hear from you, because I know we do have a couple of parents on here. I know Melody is a parent. I'm not sure who the 708-829-5655 may be, but there has been, I'm getting like, as soon as I said it, and I think this person is texting me now, but I'm excited. So if you have questions, some concerns right now, please let me know before we even move forward. Anything. Hey, Ivy, I see Ivy. Shantae is on here. Shantae, that's my cousin. Okay, got you. I got a problem. Okay, she's here. Everybody, and I know it's 6 o'clock, is Friday, so some people might still be in motion. And that's one reason why I decided to record this, so they kind of get a feel for who's who, what's what. If they need it, they can have access to it. But Latricia, any questions? Lisa, Tamika, Felice, Melody. I know Janae is busy. Ivy, Shantae, I know you're busy.
Well, can you talk a little bit more about what the students should expect as far as like the time commitment and out? Because if our students are working, how would they still be able to be in school and hold their job at the same time?
I love that you asked that. So that was one of the main things that I saw in the midst of the pandemic, because I had students who were working full time and logging into class, and I'm literally standing there at the register ready to ring out while they're like, hold on, Dr. Jones, real quick, let me answer this quick question. And I thought that was resilient, but also like, wow, that's the world we live in. So that's one reason why we have the student interest forum, so we gain a better understanding of the students that we will have at Jones Academy of Excellence, as well as what type of buy-in do we have from the parents, because I want the parents to know that we got to be in this together. And I'm not against people making their money. I'm not against, being able to be flexible and have the autonomy to figure out what balance needs to look like. But I also want to make sure we have structure in the sense that whatever we start with is what we finish with. And if there's a reason why we have to make a pivot in terms of our time commitment or any type of scheduling situations that may occur, that we're able to do that in a timely manner that does not affect the whole. So I know that may not have answered your question to a T, but what I am saying is that we want to make sure that if we're able to do it 8-to-1, and I'll be honest with you, because I use my own children as beta testers, that we started off at the kitchen table 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. every day. That worked for about a month. After that, it's like, oh, I'm 18 now, can I work? I'm like, okay, don't want to discourage you in that area. Mom, I want to get my license. Okay, well, how do we figure this out? So one of the things we ended up doing, and I'm not saying that this is going to be the case for all of our students, but what we were able to do, which might be the solution for our gap year students, is that I submitted their lesson plan to them via email on Sundays, and they have to return it to me by Thursday or Friday evening by 5 p.m. So that's one option. The other option is that we have to have that commitment between 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. Monday through Thursday, because keep in mind, we don't have school on Fridays. We don't have school Saturday and Sunday, but Fridays is more about support days. So if a student they need that one-on-one time, then Friday would be an option, but it's by appointment only. And when I mean by appointment, that it's not just about the student appointment or schedule, it's about the educational consultant schedule as well as the parent schedule, and being in tune with one another. So if that Friday is an option, then we're all on the same page. So the reason why I chose the 8 to 1 schedule, usually what happens is, just based off what I've experienced with my 16, well, she's 15 with her work permit, my 15-year-old, my 17-year-old, and my 18-year-old, they usually don't work until like the second shift, or either part of second, part of third. So that technically would mean that 8 to 1 would not be an issue for them, and it wouldn't cause any type of scheduling situations or circumstances where they can't do two things. At the same time, as a parent, what I loved was that they don't have time to, for outside games and trouble and issues, because if they're not in school, then they're working. If they're not working, they're resting or, doing their chores around the house, which is also another reason why we have life skills. I learned that during the pandemic, I made the assumption that my 15-year-old knew how to wash clothes because she's watched me wash clothes. But I also know that some of my other children can see what I do and model the way, and that's perfect. Not for that 15-year-old. That 15-year-old needed me to actually show her like, oh, okay, take a step back. Let me apologize to you because I was getting ready to go off on you for not knowing how to wash clothes, when in actuality, I never took the time to show you, and the way you learn is different than the other four. So, okay, this is how you separate your whites from your lights from your darks, your towels. You cannot wash your towels. That's the reason why your clothes are dingy, right? And then let me show you the difference between detergent and fabric softener sheets and bleach. When is bleach appropriate? Is bleach even appropriate, or are there some alternatives because you have sensitive skin? Life skills is important. And so everything that I've done has been what I've done over the last 2 years for my own children that has been beneficial for them. And I've seen the growth in them in terms of how they talk, how they advocate for themselves, their posture, their tone, where what I was seeing before, because of formalities and because of legalities, we send our children to school and then they come home, disrupting the culture environment that you created because they're consumed by what's happening at school. So they bring in that toxicity from school and bringing it home, and you find yourself every day trying to reinforce something that if you continue to send them into an environment that's toxic, that's when you're going to continue to get that. And so you never find yourself in a way of growing, you're always stagnant. So I thank you for that, Ivy, but I'm also just glad to know that we have the ability to do this. And so I'm gonna send out the presentation to every person who registered, but I feel like this is more important to have the conversation because honestly, I think many of us are Zoom fatigued, presentation out. I mean, they're cute, is pretty, you know my brand colors, as many of you know the reason why my brand colors are the brand colors that they are. Everything has a meaning, but I just tell you quickly, being a preacher's kid, being a church girl, my mother was against me having caboodle boxes. And I don't know how many of us remember caboodle boxes, but my mother thought caboodle boxes were for girls who were fast because it was about wearing makeup and just being too much for who you were at that time. But one Christmas, my middle brother girlfriend, Natalie, bought me a caboodle box, my very first one. And when I opened, I was so excited. But then again, I was like, oh my God, my mama finna snap. And she didn't. And it was like the very first time I actually saw my mother see me as it's okay, Mom. Like, I know we got this doctrine and all this other stuff, but it's fine for me to have this caboodle box, and the caboodle box is the color of my brand. So if you didn't know, that's where it comes from. But I see Taryn is on here. I see Ticey is on here. Please feel free to ask any questions that you have. Know that because you signed up, I will make sure that everyone will have the presentation. But I do also want to say too, the reason why homeschooling for me is even more important now than ever before is because traditional methods have always shown us, you know, you have a child, you send them to school. Depending on where you live will determine the type of education your child will receive. Depending on the type of money you make will determine if you can choose between public and private education. But one of the things I did not know was the ease and the ability to homeschool my children. It's a matter of one form in the state of Illinois. That form basically is showing the demographics of who you are, who your child is, what grade level, what school they attended in the previous school year, and that you plan on homeschooling, and asking you what type of curriculum that you would use if you know what that consists of. And you submit that document either online, you can still fax it, or you can mail it. And that is it. Had I known this years ago, I would have chosen homeschooling way, way early and way sooner. And I feel like my children will be further ahead. The other thing is too, as a college professor, what I've seen happen, especially at PWI, is that in terms of diversity, in order for them to obtain this linkage agreement or memorandum of understanding about students of color, they go into these different demographics or different communities, and they, you know, they still, I mean, it's beautiful, it sounds good, full scholarship, all these great things. And what happened is we get the student, and then they don't have soft skills. They don't know they don't know the difference of having a healthy debate and, you know, a full blown out argument. They don't know the language in terms of, hey, did you read your syllabus? Did you access your syllabus? Because when you come to class the first day, many times the professor's already asking you to read chapter 1, have your notes ready and ready to take your first quiz. And it's unfortunate time and time again, what I saw in a 3-year time frame was that these students were ill prepared, because what happened was they was considered high academic scholars because they laid low, they didn't get any trouble, they didn't go to the dean office, they came to school on time, they had perfect attendance, but they were not academic scholars. But because they laid low and didn't give administration a hard time, they was always shown as honorable students and high academic scholars. So now you're a senior in high school, you get this full scholarship to go to a PWI or any other institution, you get into the college classroom, and then after your first semester, you're not coming back because you were ill prepared. And so I want to make sure that that does not happen to any other child that we encounter. So that's just some of the things, like I had to remember, like, why am I'm doing this? Because it's a must, it's a necessity, and it has to come from a place of compassion and a place of empathy, especially knowing that our children have experienced a lot of hardships. We don't, like, as adults, we can't ever say we lived through a pandemic, you know, going through high school, trying to figure out hybrid learning and the difference of all these different learning mechanisms and opportunities, or the lack thereof, and the, you know, losing people to COVID, understanding what COVID consists of, and all the different things outside of what COVID consisted of, the things that were going on in your personal life, and still trying to make it through high school. This is a must.
I do have one question, Dr. Jack.
Come on.
How are we gonna handle those students who come from, you know, traditional high schools or middle schools, and they have credits already, like, towards their high school diploma? How are we going to transfer those courses so that they can still get, like, the right amount of credits they need to obtain the diploma?
Gotcha. So that's one of the conversations Latricia and I was having in regards to the requirements through Illinois State Board of Education. So we will have to have, what I would love to see happen is that each parent requests 2 transcripts, one for them to have for their records and one transcript for us to have for our records. So we could take that transcript and then coincide it to see where they are in the process, and then make sure that we develop a plan that's in place for them to graduate on time based on the credits that they need, or that you know, match the credits that they have along with the credits that they need from us, so they could graduate on time. If not sooner. Because what I've also known too, now that I'm learning more and more about the homeschool network, a lot of students, especially one lady in particular, Calandra Carpenter, she homeschooled her twins, and then she also homeschooled her oldest daughter, who was one of my previous students. And she came to the college that I was at that particular time at the age of 16. Because a lot of the formalities that many of our schools go through, is something that they design, not even making it necessary. So our children really can matriculate sooner if they are given the right tools and skills and resources ahead of time. But what happens is many of us, we know it's this traditional way of learning, and not even realizing that by law, they only need at least 4 to 5 hours of instruction per day. And that's just at the least. But if you have a child who can capture the essence of the lesson that's being taught to them sooner, long as they get the gist of what's happening, can retain that information and then be documented along the way. Like, documentation is going to be everything. And so we're going to use Google Classroom as our foundational site for classes and documentation and attendance, not just for the students, but for us as well, to say like, we are in position to do what we do because we're qualified. So we in there. Like, when I say I'm more than excited, I need people to understand, like, this is not just about the excitement because it's the first of its kind. It's the excitement because I've seen how my 3 youngest girls have been able to bloom from chaos. And I thought it was like almost impossible. And I still, they still have their challenges, but they're more forthcoming now, and they are able to articulate their emotions. That is the key piece to education. Helping a child articulate their emotions and advocate for themselves, it'll take them a long way in life, because now if they don't understand, they're not afraid to say they don't understand. If they get it, they're not afraid to say they do get it, because many times in schools, if you too smart, they bothering you. If you're not smart enough, someone's bullying you. It's almost like you danged if you do, danged if you don't, and you don't have the ability to bloom and be exactly who God has called you to be, because you're consumed by what others think about you. So having this type of environment allows us to meet the child where they are and meet the matters of the heart, so that we then can meet the matters of the mind. So yeah, they'll be able to graduate on time. And then I'm also partnering with Governor State University. I'm pulling on every person that's ever pulled on me. I'm pulling on them in terms of resources. So Dr. Marlon Cummings from Governor State University, who was also sat on my chair. He was one of my chairs for my doctoral program. He's going to make sure that I have access to the things that I need in terms of assessments, so our students can be, so we could gauge the process of where they are and where, how they matriculate from grade to grade. Then the other thing is too, I'm also the Chief Education Officer for Touch Gift Foundation, who have access to all the assessments that City Colleges of Chicago provide to high school seniors. So we'll have those assessments as well. And not only will we just have those assessments available to us as a one-time situation, we have access to that 24/7, 365. I see we got my boo, Ms. Rucker, with a question. I also see one in the chat. I'm interested in learning about what the school offers accreditation and being in compliance with college. I have a 9th grader. Is it strictly online? So to answer your question, Melody, we will be in compliance, and I'm not sure if you heard or not, but in the state of Illinois, the homeschooling process is very lenient. And so we have autonomy to create what we would want to create for our children, but we also just need to make sure we document everything along the way. And again, we will have partners who are in the field of education at the higher level education, so that we are making sure that we are in compliance every step of the way, so our children have all the credits that they need. We have the guidelines that show what Illinois State Board of Education shows need to be in place for our children to graduate on time, with the amount of credits in each key area. And then we also will have some other partners that come along the way, such as Touch Gift Foundation and other organizations that have access to assessments that we will have access to, so that we can gauge the process and document the process. And last but not least, before I get to Ms. Rucker, I'm also thinking about partnering with Coursera, which is an online platform that I use. It's about $49.99 a month, and it allows you to take courses about anything you could think of at the higher education level, but in layman's terms. So no matter what your age is, you will have access to take these different assessments, take a class online that's typically given in like a college platform. And you'll also have a certificate of completion from that organization. So say, for instance, like for me, I just finished managing emotions, emotional intelligence class that was given to about 55 of us from Yale. Now, that's huge. I got a certificate from Yale University because I paid to, I got this subscription. It's $49.99 a month. And I took it at the pace that I felt was conducive for me. And upon completion, I received a certificate that has endorsements from Coursera and from Yale University. our students will have that same opportunity. So the goal is to make sure that when we receive our funding, that students will have access to that, as well as just another layer of certification, and not even necessarily validation, because I don't really agree with the word validation. That's a whole nother subject, but it gives them the opportunity to have exposure to what a college class could look like online, as well as have the credibility and show things that they would never be exposed to in a typical public education system. So thank you for that. Ms. Rucker, you up next, boo.
Hey, hey.
Hey.
So I had a question about, I know that you're in Illinois, and of course the school and everything is based in Illinois, but is it okay for us to not live in Illinois? And how would that work for the kids that live like out of the state or out of the country or whatever?
Got you. That's a great question, because initially, honestly, Ms. Rucker, the thing about it is that I really wanted this to be an opportunity for Illinois, because I'm familiar with the way Illinois operate and the ease of homeschooling, that I'm not quite too sure what it would look like in another state. So to answer your question, I'm open to discussing what that could possibly look like, but I'm not sure in terms of requirements if you are in another state, because some states say you might need more information, or you have to use a specific curriculum, because again, people got to figure out a way to make money too. So I know some states say you have to use one specific curriculum that is tied to the educational system. So it's almost like you still, tied to this traditional form of education no matter what. So it really boils down to having that real heart-to-heart conversation. We can have, we can have our one-on-one whenever you get ready to really determine what's the best fit. So with that being said, that is something that we probably need to add to the website too, Felice, that, making sure that everyone understand that this is really like an Illinois-based type of homeschooling network, but we are able to, have the conversation if needed, because I need people to be empowered. So if what you are currently facing or dealing with in terms of education is not working, we need to find something that works for you, even if it's not Jones Academy of Excellence.
Okay, so I live in Georgia. Well, I kind of live in Georgia, whatever. I'm a resident of Georgia. So my question was more so like, in Georgia, it's basically like Illinois. You can school your kids however you want to school your kids, just, whatever. Just make sure that they know what they need to know, basically. But it's no formal anything that I have to do or anything like that. But I wanted to be sure that it was okay for her to still attend, even though we don't live in the state. Because, well, as you know, I was planning on like world schooling them and stuff. Mm-hmm. And so my older kids wanted to go back to school to finish school with their friends or whatever. So I had one that graduated, and then the next one is going to graduate in December. So it's just one left. And she would be a sophomore this year, but she had already decided she wasn't going back to school because it, quote unquote, takes up too much of her day. So yeah, she different. So I was trying to figure out like the best, because before we had time for learning when she was doing homeschool, she didn't like that curriculum. I figured your curriculum would be much more innovative and much more interesting for her. So I would rather her go to Jones Academy of Excellence than Time for Learning or any of these other curriculum thingies they have online or whatever. But I just wanted to make sure it would be okay for her to be out of the state, because I didn't know if it was like, like, of course, if I was trying to put her in a public school in Illinois and I live in Georgia, it'd be a problem. So I didn't know if it was a problem, with her being enrolled in your school and not living in the state.
If she's already familiar with homeschooling, I already know who you are anyway, and the homeschooling process as well. So that's definitely something that we can consider and talk about offline, and just make sure that everyone is in alignment with one another. I got you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
For sure. Ms. Brown, Taryn Brown, I saw your hand was up. I'm not sure if you still had a question.
Is there any way you can help me with my little baby? Because I don't want her to even start in the public school.
Oh, hey, boo.
Hey.
So I'm not sure if you know Nevanda Jones. She's alumni too. She she starts homeschooling at the age, I want to say pre-K, all the way up until 8.
Yeah, well, I need her information because I don't want to enter at all. And I
Gotcha.
feel where you coming from because I'm already in there. So by me being in there, I never want to even start something because I know it'll be hard to take it out.
Yep, I'm on that right now. So check your messenger in about 5 seconds.
Okay. Thank you.
Can you send that to me too, please?
Yep.
Because I have the twins. They supposed to start kindergarten this year, but I was only going to send them to kindergarten, and then I was planning on going back to homeschooling. But if I could find something for them to do other than regular kindergarten this year, then I would probably go ahead and do that as well.
Yep, I'm sending a message now.
Thank you.
And I trust her. I mean, she's been one of my main advocates in terms of me making the decision to homeschool my children. And yeah, so I stand on that in terms of what she's able to provide. And she's very compassionate. I love her level of she doesn't play any games as it relates to like, no, we're not, we're not taking those side steps. This is full throttle. We getting this education and we're going to be very creative in the way we do it. So I'm appreciative of her and her work, which has empowered me to say like, okay, we can do this. We can. And if I had to really just say it too, for me, it's like paying homage to not just the people who are directly in education, but even from the hood to the streets to all the different experiences I've had has been educational nonetheless. It might not have been the typical education, it might not be the education we like are proud of, but it's formed me to be the person I am today. And what I'll say about that too is that I don't know how many of us have ever heard of Dr. Helen Jackson from Texas, who is one of the hidden figures. She is really, from my knowledge, is one of the first Black women to homeschool children that we know of, officially know of. In terms of what we consider our traditional educational system. And so she's one of the hidden figures. 2, she's a Black woman. 3, she had 5 children. Oh, sounds so familiar. So she started homeschooling her children in 1983. And so here we are, 2022. A little girl from Harvey decided to start homeschooling her children. And here we are as Jones Academy of Excellence. And that's just how we roll. Let's see what we got in the chat. Oh, yes. Thank you, Ticey. Look, I'll be reaching out to you. Ticey is definitely like one of the best community advocates in Illinois that I could think of. So if you ever need to know more about community advocacy and activism, she is definitely your person. I'm shouting everybody out. Any other questions, concerns? Is there a cost? Hi, that's a great question. There, at this point, there is no cost, but I am heavily considering the fact that if you come to Jones Academy Excellence, you got to be on board with fundraising. And if you know anything about me and my background in events and stuff from comedy shows, like I've already reached out to Lil Rail. If you know anything about Lil Rail, that's like my friend. I reached out to him like, your girl is starting a school. He was like, get out of you. Like, I didn't like how he said that, but it was beautiful to know that, I was still able to reach out to him. So unfortunately, I still got to go through his agent and things of that nature, and that's okay. But the goal is to make sure that there's no cost to our parents, but the parents and students, but there is a cost in terms of when it's time for us to travel, just making sure our babies have traveling money, making sure they have, their things in place. And even if there's assistance that's needed in that area, making sure that, no child is left behind. We don't ever want, I've been down that road before where, times got hard with my mom and I couldn't go on that field trip. So I had to stay at school in that one classroom all day, looking really sick to the stomach. And then the kids come back, even though I was a cool kid, it was still hurtful to know that I could not go on that trip because we didn't have the money. And so I don't want any child to ever experience that. Not my child, not your child, not anyone. And so it's going to be no cost, but at the same time, be able to have ample opportunities to fundraise. Thank you, Ms. Rucker. Y'all, that's just where we at. God gave me this, and as much as I'm like, why? I do what God tell me to do because I know what it's like to not be in His will or be outside of His will, and I don't feel good, and I don't want that. So I'm gonna do everything He tell me to do. Thank you for that, Melody. Any other questions? So I'll add to, okay, I just sent that message to Navanda, Ms. Rucker, Ms. Brown. So check your messenger. The other thing, so school will officially start September 12th. That'll be our very first day. But I don't know if Felice know this yet or not, because I haven't sent the message to her. So like, I think she knows she's our official photographer, right? I think you knew that. Okay, I see the head now. Look, y'all see me, I'm like biting my nail. Like, I think that's what we talking about. Not only will she be our official photographer, so this is the part she don't know. She's our official photographer, but she also will be the person that I want her to take our school ID pictures. I want her to do our class pictures. I want us to do a family. I think remember we had our call the other day. I was like, this give me New Jack City vibes. Like I want all of us, every educational consultant, the mamas, the daddies, the students, all of us dressed in all black. I don't know where we're gonna go to take this photo, but I need this photo shoot with all of us to show this Black excellence. So when I tell you, this is not just a school, this is family. This is how we redefine the village. This is how we create positive, sustainable changes, connecting with one another. We have a spiritual advisor. We have Lisa, who is going to be very instrumental in making sure our children have a safe and brave space to really speak from the heart and have some solutions that's going to assist them on their journey. We have Latricia, who's really like already been in the trenches with me in terms of administrative roles and different things that need to be in place. And should I say this to Latricia about how when it comes to the electives,
Yeah.
so our children will be able to have their passports. I didn't get my very first passport. Well, I didn't get my passport until I was an adult. My children, we just put in their application for their passports. And the reason why this piece is so important is because research shows that when our children have exposure to things outside of their own neighborhood, outside of their comfort zones, outside of their view, and they are exposed to something out, externally that broadens their scope of what to hope for, they have something to hope for. They have something to reach for. They have something to strive for. So we want to make sure that every child in at least one parental role in the household has their passport. So when summer comes 2023, we will have our very first summer abroad trip. The goal too to that is that if our children learn Spanish from Professor Booker, that as they learn that what will happen is in the course of from September up until the end of the school year, they will have ample opportunities to understand, like, okay, we could visit some Spanish restaurants that are local. We can start, that life application perspective, like how do you make sure that you understand the theoretical framework of Spanish, but then how do that also translate over into the real life world in terms of you go, okay, so what is that? Name that, because we learned about that. And so the goal will be that if we do this the way we just, that we talked about in the last few days, that our children will learn Spanish, and then come summer, we will either go to Spain or Mexico.
Can I set the trips up?
What you say?
Can I set the trips up, please?
Hey, say less, because I will put you to work, man.
I'm for real. I love, I was already living in Mexico, so I have a real love for Mexico, but I want to do like a tour of like Central America and into South America a little bit. And I don't know if y'all all want to do all that with me, but I could set it up for as long as y'all, want to do it. But that's my ultimate goal for next year, is to do like a tour through like Central America and stuff.
I like it. Look, I'm saying, like, this is why this is so important, because I did not have this opportunity growing up, and I don't even think this opportunity would have been efficient for me at that particular time. So being able to have this level of autonomy and this level of empowerment around other love-minded individuals, men and women, that say, like, let's go. Because I promise you, this is it can get very nerve-wracking. Like, am I really doing this? Like, why are we doing this? And then I'm like, Lisa, Essence reached out. What we doing? Like, how what do I say? Do I just leave? What are we doing? I'm scared. I want to go back in my shell. But I'm not. And I know you got me. The other thing is too, so September 12th will be the very first day of school, but prior to that, September 9th, let me take a step back. September 9th will be our in-person orientation. We'll spend a full day together. We'll have school IDs. So Felice, you already know that I'm sending an email to you. I'll just send you an email with the dates, because I need you to take ID pictures for all of us. It's not your typical orientation where we sitting up here focusing on paperwork. Yes, the paperwork needs to get done to make sure we have everything in place and have, certain documentation on file, but it's more about relationship building. And so our very first pretty much 3 weeks of school, all of September, from September 12th to the end of September, maybe even going into the first week of October, is about relationship building. We'll get to the academics. But the one thing that I've learned being, walking away from education is that when the world shut down March 18th of 2020, and then the students came back to school in person in August of 2021, you had over 500 plus days to get it right. And what happened was they tried to pick up where they left off at. And you wonder why we had chaos happening in the schools. Like our children are children. Our children have feelings, they have emotions, and we cannot bypass those feelings and emotions because of ageism and say because they're so young, they don't have a clue what's going on. That's not the case. They probably have way much more going on in their lives than we could ever imagine. And we need to make sure that we meet the matters of the heart so we can meet the matters of the mind. So that's September 9th, like food, family, fun, and fellowship. September 12th, very first day of school. September 21st is by right the National Day of Peace, but we want to make that our actual day, September 21st, every year will be our day of peace and prayer. And so I'm in talks now with Gwendolyn Brooks Middle School in Harvey to utilize their space so that we can really be seen in the community. Like, even though we Jones Academy of Excellence, we still part of the community, we still serve, we still are, we real people. And even though we're taking a different method of being educated, that we still want to make sure that we meet the matters of the heart as well for other people, not just our own, but for others as well. And so being able to come together for prayer, peace, basketball, double dutch, whatever, food trucks, the whole nine, have that old school fun that we used to have. September 22nd through the 24th, we will be going to the Woman Thou Art Loose homecoming with Pastor T.D. Jakes, Sarah Jake Roberts, the whole Jakes family, and a few other key people. And since we're going to be in Atlanta, make sure that we have at least 3 opportunities to visit a few colleges and then come back home and get right back to it. So it's already jam-packed. It's already quite a bit going on, but I need people to understand that Jones Academy of Excellence is not your typical educational sector. It's about restorative justice, restorative practices based on the love of God. And so having our spiritual advisor, Kimberly Johnson, be part of this process, being able to, like, we have Tamika Henson, we have Ivy Wilcher, we have Lisa Jenkins, we have Latricia Booker, we have, is there anyone else? Yep. So Felice Kimber, she's part of everything I got going on. Lisa, same thing, for whether it's Purple Path or Jones Academy of Excellence, have been very like, just I couldn't do it without any of you. Like, God, you all have been godsend in terms of just what you're able to bring to the table, your expertise, your love, your passion, and the work that need to be done for our babies. I see we got Risa joined us. Yes, come on, any questions? I'm here for it all. And again, like I said, I'll send the presentation to you all because I'd rather have this form of communication than me going from slide to slide. Now, if you want me to do that, I can. I know we down to like our last 15 minutes, but I just need everyone to know, like, yes, this is no cost, but you will be required to fundraise. We'll make sure we have documentation to support that. As far as immunizations, which is another key question, that will be the family responsibility. And that's another thing, I've seen some real things happen in education where it comes to the immunizations. Like, I've seen it where a child is in the middle of in class taking a test and, we decided to go through records today. You didn't get you didn't get this shot. So you need to leave class, call a parent to come get you. So I've seen some things to the extent where, like, this can't be life, this can't be real. So let me move around. But we do want to make sure you have access to the information. So Jones Academy of Excellence will not be responsible for immunizations, but we will be responsible for giving you the information that you need to be empowered so that you can, live up to your end of the bargain when it comes to get the immunizations, and support you in any way that we possibly can. So the very thing about it is, the student interest form is 3 pages. If you go to the website, jonesacademyofexcellence.com, when you go there and hit enroll today, it'll take you to the student interest form, which is also a PDF fillable form. Oh my God. This is amazing. Thanks to Felice. I know I could be real, like, corny at times, but if you knew like how is this gonna happen? I need this to be a streamless process. I don't want people to have to print it out, because what if they don't have access to a printer? Then they gotta upload it. What if they don't have an iPhone? I'm not trying to be, iPhone, Android. I mean, it's whatever. As long as it's love, or whatever the case may be, right? Gotta upload it and then send it, and you're trying to send it to me in a picture, then I can't read it because it's distorted. So what I'm telling you is that we're doing everything we can to make sure that this is a streamless process. You go to jonesacademyexcellence.com, fill out the student interest form. What I could appreciate is that if you have the student that is interested, because it's one thing for the parents to be interested, I need the students to be interested too. So I'll say this too, the goal was to make sure that we had at least 20 students going from 9th grade to that first year gap students, 4 in each category. But right now, I've already had 12 people. That includes my 3. So that's 9. That's already like 12 seats. Like, but if I don't have a student interest form, even myself, I got to complete one too. The student interest form is 3 pages. The first page is about the student. The second page is about the parent who is filling out the student information form. And then the third page is really like a need assessment. Because most time what happens is, if you know anything about the world of education, when you register your child for school, it's really about just checking things off the box. Like, okay, do you get free lunch or reduced lunch? Do you have insurance? Do you not have insurance? What grade, where you live? Give me your utility bills to show that you live in the district, and all these other crazy things that happens at times that can be very intimidating and antagonizing. There's nothing in these registration forms that ask you, how do you feel? What do you need? What do you need to be whole again, or as whole as possible? How has the pandemic shifted your life or impacted your life? How do you think we can help you? What is it that you need in order to be successful? What do your child need, or what do you think your child need in order to be successful? We don't ask them kind of questions. We get right down to the business, and then we get a child and have no clue what to do because we didn't build a relationship. That assessment form, that interest form, is mainly the opportunity. And I'm not going to have you recreate the wheel, because if you're in. I'm not going to say the same information that you just submitted, you got to submit again along with some additional information. We're just going to add additional things to it so we can make sure that we have our end covered and have you covered as well. Once you receive your acceptance letter, what is going to happen upon acceptance, we'll go through a behind the scene. Latricia and I will work together and form in regards to gathering a team of us to have an assessment tool to use, so we could say, okay, yay or nay, or what is something else that is needed? Do we need more information? So we could take we're not taking a one size fit all approach. It's every child, every family, different circumstances. So we want to make sure we meet you where you are. But at the same time, once we go through that particular process and you get your acceptance letter, which we're working on, because I wanted to come off as authentic, because if you know me, I'm like, hey, boo, how you know, I won't do that. But you know what I'm saying? I want to make sure that your acceptance letter is created in a way that God has allowed me to create it. And then we'll jumpstart the process. We'll make sure that when we have our gathering September 9th, that every student, every family will receive everything that they need that day in terms of school supplies, in terms of basic necessities, and in terms of any type of resources that are needed based on what is shared in that document that you shared, that's on our website now, the entry form, the interest form that we have that available to you as well. It's one thing to say that our people need resources, but it's another thing to make sure that those resources are tangible resources that are needed, because one too many times we see happen, especially in our schools, they have this really pretty binder full of resources, it's color coded and in alphabetical order. But what happens is when you call, the very first number is disconnected because that service is no longer provided. They didn't make it through the pandemic. Or when you call a number, they're like, oh, we no longer offer those services. We pivoted and now we only offer these services on this particular day and time. And there's a lack of communication. And therefore, when parents or families are in need, especially from a place of pride and ego, when they make the decision to come forward and say, I need help, and then that help is not received in a way that is conducive to meet their needs, it kind of creates this havoc that we don't want. It creates a barrier that may already exist. Now it's even a heavier barrier, because now we're part of the problem, not part of the solution. So with that being said, that's pretty much what I have for now. I will continue to work on, the verbiage and making sure that the reason why this is recorded, so I can go back and listen to it and make sure that it's incorporated so we can have a fact sheet, right, Latricia?
Yeah.
Melody, okay, yes, your hand is up, Melody. Let's go, boo.
Hi, just quick question. What I wanted to know is like, is there a informational component to, or like a video or something to show our children, hey, this is a great opportunity, like just for the students? Like, is there like an informational piece? Is there like a Zoom? Is there like a fun video? Is there like a, I can go on the website and read the information, but a lot of the times working in education, we used to try to, okay, why do we trying to convince the student to come, and why is a great benefit for them to come, right?
I got
Is there anything?
No, I'm with you. So I'm glad you said that, and you said that with the right people on that's listening to you. So if that means I gotta go and get dressed and go down to Park Forest to where our home location gonna be, figure out how I can get some time with Felice, Latricia, Lisa, everybody. Like, let's make a video. I have the girls who are more than able to participate in terms of testimonials, which is something Felice asked for already. So yeah, we can make sure that happens sooner than later. Matter of fact. Yeah, because I could pull some things together here at home, but I don't think that's what y'all want. Y'all don't want me to do that. I don't think you want to do that. I don't want to have to set a stage. I want it to be the actual location. But I got you, Melody, most definitely. And I can definitely set something up where I'm giving a little testimonial that's not, I rather the kids hear from kids, the children. So, but I can set the tone where I'm like, hey, my name is Dr. Jones, founder, CEO of Purple Path and Jones Academy of Excellence. And I want you to hear from some of the students ourselves in regards to the reason why you should come to Jones Academy of Excellence. Boom. I hope y'all hear this, right? And then we can have the girls do, share some things about what they experience. And if you know anything about my girls, they're very honest. They're not the ones like, oh, mom, how you want me to say this? No, and I'm cool with that. I love them. I now respect them for that. But thank you, Melody, because now you just put something, that's a must that has to happen.
I was thinking about that when you were saying, like, for the kids to fill out their own forms, like, they not on here with us, so they not gonna be as excited. When I call my kids and be like, oh, y'all, I got a school for y'all, they gonna be like, girl, bye. Like,
believe me, I understand. And honestly, the only children that's been, not only the children who are excited about Jones Academy of Excellence are children who have been my children in the past, whether it's from Chicago Collegiate Charter School, Thornton, Thornridge, Thornwood, Peace, Outlook, District 215. So anybody that's already experienced me as a educator are excited. At the same time, of course, you got the school district like, Doc, I know you're not trying to take our kids. No, I'm not trying to take any child. I just want whatever children God sends us are the children we're going to take.
Amen.
Yep. Any other questions? And I'm gonna make sure, again, I'm gonna send out the presentation to everyone at the very end, so you'll have access to it. I am taking notes. I believe Latricia, it looked like Latricia got her administrative hat on. She taking notes. The part of the team is on here. You got Ivy, you got Tamika, Lisa, Latricia. Yep, that's the team. Janae is my virtual assistant. Felice is like all things related to everything. Purple Path and Jones Academy of Excellence. Taryn, I grew up with Taryn. Shantae is my cousin. Reese is like my little sister. Melody, we got history probably like last 10, 12 years from Governor State University. Same thing with Miss Rucker. Like, so all of us are connected in some form of fashion. But at the same time, I just need people to know, like, this isn't a game. This is real life. Even when I'm afraid, I'm prayerful. I've been fasting because I know our children need something other than what's being provided to them. And they deserve so much more. And they deserve so much more because to make it through a pandemic in school, I would not have known how to. And so if they knew the strength that they had, sometimes we are able to tell them that, and sometimes we haven't, but they need to know, like, you really matter. Like I as a commencement speaker doing graduation speeches for the last 2.5 months, the main thing I led with is that I don't care how strong you think I am, you're stronger. Because I didn't go to high school. I didn't have to go to high school and deal with a pandemic. I didn't have to go to high school and deal with social media. I didn't have to go to high school and deal with many of the things that you dealt with. And here you are crossing the stage, and you may not even understand how you made it, but you're here. And you're here for a reason. I need you to know that reason. So, hey, this is what we're gonna do. And we're starting off small. I mean, the state of Minnesota have reached out. Georgia have already reached out. Different states have reached out in terms of like, hey, we watching you for this next year to see how this go, because we're gonna need, if it works, we're gonna need you to come and show us how to do it too. So this is not a game, y'all. It's go time.
Not if it works, when it works.
When it works, when it works, when it works. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, thank you, thank you. See what I'm saying? This
Yes,
when it works, when it works. And I'm so excited. And I'm glad to have the people that I have supporting me to make this happen.
I'm geeked. Like, I don't know about everybody else, but I just keep talking. I feel like I'm saying too much because it's not my meeting, but I am so geeked. Like, I am so geeked over here. I'm all the way in Canada up here. Like, yes, I'm in a car with somebody. They looking at me weird. It's okay.
You know, I've got nothing but love for you. And no, don't ever feel that way. This is our space. Like, even if I create the space, it's ours. So yes, we're gonna make sure our babies graduate. Like, I even have a mother who was like, you know, my daughter should be graduating on time, but because of a suspension, it held her back because she was suspended during the time when she should have been testing, and because she wasn't able to test. And see, that's the legal part that we need to be more, we need to know the law for ourselves. And so because of that situation, that young lady was held back. And I want her so she can graduate on time, because that's not fair. It's not fair at all. Ivy, then I think Melody has her hand up too. So Ivy, you up next, and then Melody.
How do you guys feel about like having a group me or some type of chat where we can throw around ideas when it comes to like planning? Because I know I'm on electives and I know everyone's doing something different, but even if we want to start just throwing out ideas, lessons, and start organizing, I don't know, because I know I have the group me app for my son's football team, and it's been pretty helpful. Just throwing that out there, or remind. I don't know which one you guys may want to.
Nope, group me. Look, I'm on here now. And I thought about that, and I was like, you know, I gotta get to a point where like, hey, this is what we're doing, opposed to saying asking, like that delegation piece. So I'm behind the scenes taking leadership classes to make sure that I'm operating at the highest level of integrity, but also want to be considerate, because I do know sometimes, oh yeah, Slack. So Janae is my assistant. And when I tell you to be putting me on, I'm like, oh Lord, what are we doing now? But that might be another opportunity. So if we don't use GroupMe, we definitely could either use GroupMe, Slack, or Asana. And I love Asana now that Janae put me onto it. But at the same time, just be able to get a feel for where everyone is at. Because I know some of us are more tech savvy than others. And then others, it's like, okay, I gotta be face to face with you while we do this. So definitely, yeah, definitely considering it. So thank you, Ivy.
Because I was thinking, like, I know we all get inspired sometimes when we're driving, or we might be in a grocery store and something good, you know, cool may come up, and the email may not be your first go-to, but if it was like in a mobile app, like, you know, the group me, we can share links, like videos on something, or a voice, you know, note or something, just a place where we can keep like a record. And then if it was something more serious or we needed to meet, then we can schedule a Zoom, official Zoom meeting, and do that through email or send a link through GroupMe, but just have a place where we can kind of brainstorm.
Yep, I'm with you. Totally agree. And then a part of me, like, maybe down the line, Lisa could create a app for Jones Academy of Excellence. I think that would be dope too, because what y'all don't know, what y'all don't know is that Lisa has an international app that has gone global called the Slip Out app. And so for anyone that has ever experienced anything in regards to domestic violence, whether that's like the most egregious to some simple things, but it's never simple when it comes to being mistreated. She has an app that gives you the knowledge, give you the skills, have the different resources in place, as well as if you want to get out, the Slip Out. I don't know how else to tell you. I mean, because we got to be able to do this in a way that's still safe for that person who's on the side of trying to figure out their way out. So all I'm saying is, when I say the goats are here, and now I take that back, and my husband say gloat, the greatest lady of all time. Like, we here. We are here. Felice, you all shining and stuff, my little boo. Oh, I see you. You cute.
Thank you. I just want to say the everything. I'm just proud of how all of this is coming together for you, as well as the school. And I think I wrote down. You said that you wanted to add something about Illinois to the website. Did you? Okay.
I'm gonna send it to you.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone else?
Well, I don't care if we live out of the state, out of the country, or whatever. My kids will be involved, and we will be showing up to the events. And listen, if we got to act like we live in Illinois, I know how to do that too.
I love you. I really do. I mean, you are amazing. She is definitely, we all need to know each other. Every person on here is amazing in their own right. But to know that a mother would uproot and take her babies and travel around the world, like this is what she's already doing. So what we're doing is beautiful. But what she has been able to do, like her children and her family, they moved to Mexico. They've been in Canada. They've been across the world just learning and loving each other. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, this has been good. So just know
thank you. And I agree, like what you said earlier about kids, really, my kids changed so much when we left the country. Like just the way that they interact with people, just their level of understanding of just regular situations, everything is so different with them going out of the country and seeing how other people live and coming back. And my babies, I'm happy that I took them out of the country when I did, but I'm also I regret it a little bit because they don't really fully understand the American way anymore because they were so young when we left. So now that we're back, they don't understand. Like when I say, oh, well, I can't afford that, they like, girl, what? Like, what you mean I gotta clean up after myself? Where the maid at? We ain't got no housekeeper. What's going on? And it's like, no, baby, we're not in Mexico no more. Housekeepers in America cost mommy's whole salary. We can't do that. I make a housekeeper salary, sweetheart. We got we gotta adjust. But they don't really get it. But I just appreciate the fact that my kids have experienced that so that they have a higher level of expectations in their lives. Like they telling me stuff like, girl, because I don't know what type of job you got, but you need a better one, and they 5. But they know that, okay, well, if we can't afford no housekeeper, girl, you need a better job. We got to do better, And I mean, I'm saying it like that because that's really how my kids talk. But I allow my kids to talk that way because I want them to feel comfortable talking to me. So we don't have that, as long as they're not blatantly disrespectful. We don't have that thing of, oh, you can't say this to me, I'm mommy. Like they talk to me how they talk. You know what I'm saying? So when they tell me stuff like, girl, you got to get a better job, I just laugh because they right. They right. You know what I mean? So I'm just so excited because I feel like this is exactly what my older girls need, because when we went to Mexico, they were still doing like that online school with the regular school system, and it was bad. It was really bad. And so I took them out and I put them on time for learning, and they were doing their classes through there and they were learning stuff, but it wasn't what they really needed. Like they needed more interaction with people and not just with a computer. And they were having interactions with the people in Mexico, as far as the people that we were meeting there, and they were having interactions with people, but it wasn't connecting. You know what I mean? They had no interaction with the people that they were actually doing classes with. And they had all their interaction with other people who they were doing no classes with. It just didn't mesh, Yeah. But it was a wonderful opportunity. That's why I said I love the idea of taking the kids out of the country and stuff, and the traveling piece. I'm just so excited. And my youngest daughter, she does her own private Bible study. She started a Bible study at her school. So this whole woman got our loose thing is gonna be awesome for her. She's gonna be so geeked. So yeah, I'm just excited. I'm so excited.
Let's go. That's amazing. Yep. I'm here for the long haul, and it's about legacy. It's legacy. I may not be here forever physically, but I will be here forever. Yep. So with that said, because I'm getting the chills, and I said, Doc, don't you cry in this. Don't do it because it's being recorded. Don't do it. So I'm going to end on a great note in prayer. Father God, we thank you for allowing us to come together this evening to just give you the glory, the honor, and praise, and to be able to have conversation about our children's education, especially in times when we need to be more empowered, when we need to be more uplifted, when we need to be more courageous and learn how to advocate in a way that is going to create positive, sustainable change, God. So we just thank you for allowing us to be a solution and be an answer to a prayer as it relates to having a space to call your own, having a space that is brave, and having a space that allows you to learn at your own pace and at your own will, God. So we just thank you for every woman. We thank you for every man. We thank you for every student. We thank you for every person that we encounter on this journey, God. And we thank you for the road ahead. We thank you for the knowledge, the grace, the compassion, the empathy, the resources, the skills, the tools, everything that it takes to make this happen, God. We thank you for the people who are working behind the scenes. We thank you for the people who are making decisions on behalf of funding opportunities, God. We just know that it is so, and that we will be able to set the tone of what history needs to look like in the face of this pandemic, God. And we were prepared for such a time as this. And so we give you the glory, the honor, and praise. Thank God. Amen. Amen. Love to each one of you. Please spread the word. Go to the website, jonesacademyofexcellence.com. Fill out the student interest form. Let's get this ball rolling. We got lives to change for forevermore. And so with that said, God is. I love y'all. And I will talk to you on the other side of this computer by email. Have a great evening, everyone.
You guys have a great
Good night,
weekend.
everyone.
Thank
You
you.
too.
Have a great weekend, everyone.